Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. So today I'm going to talk to you about time travel and hyperdimensional journeying into the astral realm and how those two are ultimately interlinked, i.e. you do one, then the other becomes naturally manifest. Now, time and space creates the illusion of the 3D. If you're able to transcend the limitations of time and space, which ultimately are one, then what happens is you can perceive higher dimensional realities beyond the 3D once you can take your awareness into those spaces. Astral travel to different star systems or other galaxies is actually very easy to do. It's a natural manifestation of taking your awareness outside of time. So basically, I'm a traveler here, I'm a visitor to Earth for another reality, another dimension, another star system, the whole works. And those who have watched Star Trek The Next Generation with Captain Picard in it will know that in a few of the episodes there's this mysterious character called the Traveller who phases in and out of space-time and as a result has the power to transcend time and exist outside of time in a totally different reality. So this representation of the traveller in Star Trek is actually very similar to who I am on a deeper level. So I travel throughout the entire universe through different dimensions, through different times, different spaces, different planets, different star systems. Again, the whole works, and all of that is happening outside of time. You know, everything happens at once in this universe. Now, it looks like everything happens in sequence, and this is what's called linear time. But you know, linear time is basically an illusion of the mind. Time is created when you think. You know, once you start slowing down the thought processes in meditation, what happens is gaps kind of appear in between two separate events, and if you can take your awareness into that gap with practice, you can start to perceive the reality that exists beyond time. When that happens, then you'll pop through into another dimension and you'll have an experience of the universe in some form or another. So people also probably remember the Contact film where Jodie Foster got into some kind of Merkabah structure like this and then popped through into a wormhole and travelled to the distant shores of a planet on another galaxy, had all kinds of profound experiences there, and then came back to this reality in the film, and the whole journey only took like half a second, and because the journey took such a short amount of time, no one believed that she'd actually travelled there. Now, this is what happens to me all the time. In the space of just 1 or 2 seconds, you know, I can open up that time and go into the gap in between two time intervals, and I can project myself into the no time reality. It becomes hyperdimensional. There's other planets, there's star beings, the whole works. I can pop back in here in 1 second or 2 seconds after I left, and this happens in dreams as well all the time. And what happens is on your way to the no time reality, you'll pass through different temporal fields. You know, once you can get your awareness into the gap between two events, you can start to enter other time streams. In the space of 1 second here, you can go into a parallel reality and have an experience that lasts like 2 hours, 10 hours, or even a few days. Now, if you take that further, because there's many different levels of time, it's actually possible to have an experience that lasts like 50 million years in the space of 1 second here, and that's because those time frames are running at different levels. Now, what gets really interesting is that time, it appears to be a linear thing, and whichever direction you go in, ultimately you'll come back to the same point. You know, the past and the future is an illusion. If you go into the future far enough, you'll come back to the past, and vice versa. So this is how it works. So once you start to have those experiences, you basically become hyperdimensional. You start to exist outside of time. And this is how you actually time travel. You take yourself outside of time, and then you can move backward or forward in any direction you choose, and then you can put your awareness into a different point on the linear time stream. So you can find yourself back in the past, or you can find yourself in the future, or you can find yourself in a different incarnation in a future life or the past life. The reason why that is because every single thing is happening at once. There's no such thing as sequencing in the universe. It's only the 3D mind that can't handle the fact that everything happens in the now. So it breaks down the now moment into a series of perceptions and experiences. They're not really sequenced, they just appear to be, because the human mind is limited in that it can only ever perceive one thing at a time. Now, when the mind can only perceive one thing at a time, other things that it needs to perceive and experience kind of get backlogged into an archive ready for experiencing. The truth is everything's happened already, but the mind can't grasp that, so it kind of has to go through one thing at a time in a cycle, and that is how time is created. It's created by the mind, and it's an illusory construct. Now, once you start believing time is real, then you open up the doorway for becoming entrapped in time. Once you become trapped in time, then decay and death, along with all kinds of karmic sufferings, then become inevitable, simply because time is an illusion. If you believe in an illusion, you're having a false view, and usually a false view will cause you some kind of suffering. So in terms of cracking time travel, it's basically not a science thing. You know, science can't really help us to travel in time, because science in itself exists within space and time. You know, science is totally and utterly inside the illusion of space-time. And to experience no time or time travel, you have to go beyond that again, and science can't possibly grasp that from the standpoint of 3D. So science can't really help to explain time travel, but what can help to explain time travel is the nature of awareness. You know, your deeper nature, the truth of who you are, exists beyond time, and it has never existed in time. So once you start asking, you know, what are we doing here in this time, if time doesn't really exist and our true nature is actually somewhere else in a timeless reality, well, what you come up with, if you do a lot of meditation and philosophical reflection on these things, you'll find that you're actually dreaming here, that this experience in the 3D is very transient, and it's no more real than a dream. It's just a series of phenomena, perceptions and events that your mind appears to be having here. You're just dreaming it, but because you become overly attached to it, because it's not ordinarily possible to see another reality, become totally identified with it and believe it's reality, when in fact it's just a superficial reflection of a much deeper and multifaceted reality that's far more profound and expansive than this one here. Doesn't mean this reality isn't valid. It has a relative truth to it. You know, it's true because you're having the experience of it, but it's not absolute truth, because the higher truth is that you exist on a higher plane of consciousness beyond all kind of notions of time and space. So as a traveller, I have great fun in travelling through the universe. I've been to the ends of the known universe. Once you can take yourself out of time, the distance kind of aspect of time, remember time and space are actually the same thing, so if you transcend time, you also transcend distance. Now, at the moment you transcend distance, you can go to Alpha Centauri in less than a second. Alpha Centauri is the nearest star system to the Sun, 3.4 light years away. It's very easy to go there in the blink of an eye. Once you take your awareness outside of time, you can go to any star system you wish in the universe. And the reason why that is because the universe is the smaller container and awareness is the bigger one. It's not that the universe is the biggest awareness and your awareness is somehow a smaller part in it. That's not true. That's what it appears to be like. But the converse is true, which means that your awareness, your innate awareness, the truth of who you are, gave birth to the entire universe. It created the whole thing with every single star system, planet, galaxy, civilization, nebula, the whole works. Everything that exists within the universe is actually existing within your own greater awareness. Once you expand your awareness in this lifetime, and once you've had 10-20 years of spiritual practice behind you, what happens is you have a massive stockpile of awareness. This awareness gets so big it basically expands and permeates the whole of 3D existence, and then nothing in 3D becomes unknown to you. Simply by taking your awareness to it, you can become aware of it, and thus your awareness expands and you become a fully realized universal being, and you can travel to the ends of the universe. You can go to different star systems, you can access other lives, other parallel realities. It all exists in the now. There's no such thing as time, there's no such thing as space. Both of those things are constructs of the mind. Once you transcend your ego, the limitations of the mind, you're everywhere at once. You're in all lifetimes at once, past and future. There is no past and future. Everything's basically happening at once in the now, simultaneously. So you're incarnated in over 1 billion places at once, spread throughout the entire universe. Once you can crack the barrier of time, it's possible to have an experience of any of that. Whatever you want to experience and focus on, you can experience. So in terms of travelling to the end of the universe, then what about the Big Bang? Because science talks about this great Big Bang that kind of started the entire universe. Apparently it happened some 14 or 16 billion years ago, where this universe of form kind of came out of nothing. But once you transcend time, this notion doesn't make sense. The only way that the universe can come out of nothing is if linear time exists. If linear time doesn't exist, if you accept that everything happens in the now, there could never have been a beginning and there could never be an end, simply because the primal awareness did not start. It did not have a starting point, and this primal awareness does not exist in time. Time is an illusion of the mind. Thus it's only within the illusion of the mind that the universe had this apparent chronological beginning. There's this paradox about the first cause, chicken and the egg. If there's a first cause, there must have been an effect that preceded that. But again, that's only true from the standpoint of time. If you want to understand how the universe came about, what the deal is with the Big Bang, you have to understand that the Big Bang was not really the first cause, but the first thought. so to speak, and because the 3D mind in the realm of thought cannot perceive the reality exists beyond thought, it's not possible for us as 3D beings to have any grasp or comprehension of what existed before the Big Bang. Now, just because we can't perceive or comprehend what happened before the Big Bang from the perspective of 3D, it doesn't mean that nothing actually happened before the Big Bang. All it means is our sensory faculties are limited in the 3D, and in the body, once you're in time, there's a limit to what you can experience. And thus science has to create this idea that the Big Bang started the universe from a fixed point in universal history. Now the reality is that's not true. There was no starting point in time. The universe was always there, awareness was always there. The universe in this present manifestation may have started like 16 billion years ago, but awareness is eternal, it's infinite, it can create all kinds of manifestations of the universe. There's more than one universe. If you travel to the end of the universe in your astral body, if you've got enough experience in such matters, you'll find it's actually possible to astral travel into a region of reality that predates the Big Bang. When you can go there, things get very profound, weird, strange, wonderful, the whole works, because what happens then is you can start to access other universes. This universe, like 100,000 million billion galaxies in it, is not the only universe that there is. There's other universes as well that operate on different time frames, different dimensional frequencies, the whole works. So once you take your awareness out of time, you'll find that the universe and reality itself is mind-bogglingly vast and big, and it appears at first it's impossible to actually comprehend that. But once you can take your awareness out of time and do it regularly, you can start to experience this massive, profound, universal, multi-dimensional reality, and you can become familiar with that. And that's my life passion as a multi-dimensional traveler. One of my aims is to become aware of the entire universe in all dimensions, in all times, in all spaces, and by doing that, it gives me the ability to penetrate the illusion of this reality here. This reality here is nothing other than a dream for me. It's transient, it's just a moving through. There's nothing concrete about this reality, because this whole reality exists within my awareness, and thus this whole reality is nothing other than a series of ideas. Yes, it looks like I have a solid body, but the body itself is an idea as well. Thus this whole reality is fundamentally illusory on a deeper level, because it does not exist outside of your mind. You're basically thinking up this whole thing. So what happens is, when you practice spiritual mastery and you develop a mastery of your mind, what will happen is you'll start to perceive reality in a different way, and your thinking processes will start to slow down. It takes many years of meditation to exercise some control over your thought processes. At the same time, there's lots of cleansing, a long path, like 20 years of cleansing, emotional purification, body detoxing, forgiveness, healing fears, the whole works. Everything you have to do on the spiritual path in order to get there will ultimately assist you in that higher reality becoming manifest for you. The product of a lifetime of spiritual practice is this ability for your mind to start slowing down. You have an ego, you're always gonna have an ego in this reality. The idea is not to get rid of the ego, but once the ego kind of tames down a bit and kind of takes its proper place, you're not looking to kill the ego or destroy it. You can't do that. If you try, you're just going to screw yourself up. The aim is to simply bring your awareness of the ego into its proper place, because the reality of the ego, the illusory reality of the ego, is a very small thing compared to the reality of everything that is. What happens is the mind kind of gets attached to the ego and thinks it is the ego, nothing other than the ego, and that very small ego-based reality will then kind of expand and become your whole experience, and thus you then believe that your ego is real and nothing else exists, which is a total reversal of what the truth actually is. The ego is just a very small aspect of the overall container. Once you have control and mastery over your mind and your emotional states, what will happen is that ego reality will take its proper place, and then you'll perceive the bigger thing. Your 3D reality will basically become very transient and transparent. You'll be able to see through it. You might be able to see through objects, people, the ground, trees, planets, the whole works. You can see through it, and inside 3D reality is another reality that's ordinarily hidden from human view. It takes a lot of spiritual practice to open up those doorways. Once the doorways open, you can perceive other truer and more real realities, and those realities are actually there, they exist, and it's this reality that's more illusory than it looks. And that's basically the aim of the spiritual practice of reflection, is to start asking yourself these kind of questions. Is the universe real? Where did I come from? Who made the universe? Who made me? What is the ego? What is the I? If you ask yourself these questions, you can get some answers, but it's no good just to come up with theories and ideas about what the answers are. You actually want the answers straight. You can only get those answers straight if you can go straight to source. If you have that strong connection with the higher planes, you can have a direct experience. It's not sufficient just to know that the ego is an illusion. One needs to have the experience, a direct understanding that the ego is an illusion. Again, with time, it's not sufficient to know that time is illusory. Many of us know that time is illusory, but you need to know that. You need to have a direct experience of that transience of time. Once you have that, you will then have a transcendental experience which will show you a greater and more profound reality. And it's in those greater, more profound realities from where all spiritual inspiration and understanding flows. And for those of you working my spiritual mastery circle during May and June, we're going to unpack some of these concepts more to help you come to some deep understanding as to what I'm talking about. So ultimately you can anchor it into the experience of your life here, so it's useful to you in your experience of the 3D reality. It's one thing to travel throughout the universe visiting different stars, star systems and galaxies. There's another thing to bring all of that understanding and information into the awareness of this reality and use that understanding to enhance your life experience here. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in my study circle. So if people are interested in that, there's a very short amount of time to jump on the boat with that, so do visit my website and check that out if you want to be a part of that. So that's basically all I'm going to share for today. So people wondering what the deal is with these Merkabahs, why I make these structures. They're inspired by my experiences of traveling into other dimensional regions of the universe, and these structures, if you meditate with them very strongly, you can access higher dimensions of reality. And with the bigger ones, they can also help you with dreaming. So for example, this big Merkabah here, I kind of hang this over my bed when I sleep, and I go to all kinds of different realities every night across the time threshold, and I go to Alpha Centauri, beyond different star systems, different beings, the whole works. And my nocturnal adventures are very profound with these Merkabahs. So basically what they're doing is the geometry of the structures is triggering a higher dimensional awareness in your live body. When you have that trigger pop, you'll have a transcendental experience, either in dreaming or meditation. So for more information about these, just go to my website and take a look. There's more information, there's more videos there about how they work, and you can also build any of the structures that you see here. You can build them yourself, and it's a lot cheaper. I give you the full instructions, video instructions, and you can basically build these amazing structures for yourself and learn how to become an interdimensional cosmic astral traveler. So that's all for now. Speak to you again soon. Free spirit out.